great programs. Um, and us coming off, you know, two very difficult games where we struggled to score against, I think, arguably one of the best teams in the country. We're just staying at it. I think the things that we're doing are really good. We have to believe in our system. Everybody knows you better as you go through the schedule the second time. So we clearly kind of know what both teams are going to do. And we just have to get a little bit better at what we do. So excited about our team, excited about how they practiced. And I think we're in a really good spot. It's February. It's a time to still be getting better. I think we can be a little bit better on both ends of the court, a lot better on the offensive end, I hope. But, I like where we are, and I like being in Beasley 2 more games before we hit the road again.
How's your team been able to respond after that week against Stanford? You guys had back-to-back games. It didn't really go the way that you guys were hoping, but what were you able to pull out of that after watching some film, seeing some things as a coaching staff? And what's your message been to your team to kind of move on from that and just kind of take those lessons and move forward for the rest of the season?
Well, you just have to tip your hat to Stanford. I mean, they feel, and now that we've kind of played everybody, they feel at a different level than everybody else. Their length is just and the athleticism at every spot on the floor. They just have so many weapons. And I just think Tara's really turned the corner on them and how they're guarding people. And they had a great plan. Obviously, when they pretty much hold, Charlize scoreless or keep her down, that really is a big problem for our team. We don't have enough scoring punch still around her. We can't let her go, scoreless. So we've got to find some ways to get her the ball better in certain positions. But it's not like everybody can be Stanford. Everybody can look at what they did and game plan that way, but you don't have Stanford's athletes and players. So Charlize has been really successful. Our offense has been pretty successful against most of the teams in this league. And again, I think there are some things that we can do better. I think we took away, certain things on the court that we can get better at. But overall, you just got to find ways to put points on the board, and you got to be really solid and steady on the defensive end. And, again, we're excited about playing another top 5 or 6 team in the country and then trying to win over USC, something we haven't done since I've been here.
You mentioned this is 4th or 5th game that you're going to play against a top 5 team here in a stretch. You've played over the last 2 seasons. You guys have played 20 plus ranked opponents. Is this team not really phased anymore when they see that number in front of their team, or they just kind of treat it as just another game? Here we go. After having so many, it's got to get that way, right?
Well, I mean, I think, people sign up to play in the Pac-12 because you're going to play really great competition. I mean, top to bottom, whether they're ranked or not, it's hard to win no matter who you're playing night in and night out. I feel like this team's been a little bit better at not being too bothered by, again, it may not even be the number, but just the storied program. USC's not ranked, but they have a great women's basketball history. And so they have a persona, they have a presence. And so, you have to manage that as the opponent, as the program that's never done anything in women's basketball. We're trying to climb that hill. We're trying to do things for the first time. So, but I really like this team. I like the older players are more seasoned. They're more used to playing some ranked opponents. They handle themselves well. And, the younger players are just tough and they're competitive, and they don't seem to be bothered by too many big names or big moments.
A couple of bright spots for you last week was in the post. Ula Motuga had a double-double on Wednesday against Stanford. Then she had a double-digit performance on them against Friday. And then Bella Murakatete scored a career-high 17 points against the Cardinal on Friday. How big is it to see those kind of productions? I mean, they were, Ula in particular was vastly undersized in the post, but she was still able to put a strong offensive performance up. How promising is it to see from a position that is still growing and still learning week in and week out to have production like that?
Well, again, I think our team is, they can watch film. We don't just have to show it. They're students of the game. So everybody's a little bit different in how they guard us. And, people are putting the target on Charlize's back and saying, we're not going to let her beat us. Stanford didn't really let Crystal get going. So it really created some opportunities for other people on the floor. Ula being one of those. They really took some chances and came off of her, took some chances and came off of a lot of people. I think Yo showed herself well and kind of scored some baskets, and they kind of got out of what they were doing in that first game. But overall, everybody's going to have a different scheme and do it a little bit differently. USC might zone us a lot more. UCLA will switch more. So everybody's a little bit different, and you just have to have, the confidence and the IQ and, the playmakers on your court that can adjust on the fly, because you can't micromanage every opponent and how they guard. You just have to have really good basketball players. And thankfully we've played so many teams now. We kind of have an idea of what people are going to do, and I think we can, put a plan in place before we get out on the court. But executing that plan is always a little bit more difficult than putting the plan together.
We got Scott Hansen from the Seattle Times. Go ahead, Scott.
Hi, Coach. I wanted to know what you thought about Charlize being a nominee for Seattle Sports Star of the Year, and maybe just a minute on just what makes her such a special player.
Yeah, great. She's a special player. She's a special human being. She's a 4.0 student. I think she was in 18 hours last semester. She's just a really well-rounded person and deep thinker. Takes things really seriously, but isn't too serious either. I don't think her competitiveness just screams out, but she's got this calm presence about her. So for her to be up on this stage this early in her career is just such a credit to her. She's been double teamed and triple teamed her whole life. She's been playing against grown women, older than her and bigger and stronger. And so coming into the Pac-12, I don't think it was as huge of adjustment as maybe some freshmen have. But you also see where she's getting targeted now and plans to keep her from getting the ball and touching it. And so, every freshman's probably going to struggle in some capacity, but I just love her demeanor. I love her competitiveness. I love the fact that she wants to get better every day in our gym. She's not afraid of the fight. She's not afraid of what might be coming. And I think now we just have to get her to, she's got to step up and take some more pressure, take some more chances maybe, just to make sure that she's effective for us, because we really need her to be a great player for us night in and night out.
Yep.
And Coach, final question here. It is National Girl and Women Sports Day. What's your message to just any young, inspiring girl here in America that would be inspired to play sports? What would be your message to them just to get out there and participate?
Oh, I just love it. I just can't even imagine being a kid and all the practice times. And when you spend 2 hours after school practicing, or you're doing stuff outside and playing with your friends and doing some sort of sports, when you think about not doing those things and all the hours that you have, I think parents should get their kids involved in sports. It is just such a great avenue of, esteem building and confidence building. And, one thing that I just think is huge is my second message in that was get them involved, but don't let them quit, make them stick through, a season, even if they don't like something, maybe stick through times when it gets hard, or if they don't always get what they want, because the resiliency of what you learn from sports and what you learn from adversity and what you learn from the discipline and what you learn from the work ethic. It touches every part of your life, whether, learning those habits as an athlete or as recreational or as a student. It is just such a benefit to be involved, not to mention, the dynamics and the team sport and the selflessness and, sharing and all of those things that have to happen. I always say I wish politicians were all on teams, sports teams, because you just have to give and take when you're on a team. And so I'm so proud of the players that we have in our program. I want them. They are great role models. They are so good in the classroom and their dedication to the sport and to this university and being a role model. It is just everything we want. I think that I want Coug Nation to be. I hope, and I just hope that we're a good example and our players are a great example of young people getting involved in sports and sticking it out and getting the benefits of what it's like to be on a team.
All right, Coach, we'll appreciate your time today. We'll talk to you this Friday after the UCLA game. Best of luck, and Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.